All right, guys, welcome to On the Block. I got Joe here, Joe Ferfari, Igor Henriquez. In case you didn't know, didn't see the stories, didn't go on Instagram, you're living under a rock, Raptors are in the finals, and who would have thought?
What a time
Who
to
would
be
have
alive.
thought? Man, I guess it's safe to say that I celebrated on Saturday when the party happened.
We all did. What
I was on a different
crazy
level.
time. A new level, yes.
But let's start off with the Game 6 recap. Going into the series, we both actually, I think we picked Raptors in 6, but we said our
My heart said Raptors in 6. My head said Bucks in 7. So either way, I think it was going to come to fruition. Well, one way or another. I think you had another game gone back to Milwaukee. I think it would have been a tough call for the Raptors. But the heart went out over the mind, and now we're sitting here. NBA Finals start on Thursday at 9, and here we go.
It's crazy just thinking, because anybody that lives in the city knows that Toronto's in every sport has dealt with enough heartache, whether it been your boy LeBron shitting on the team forever, and ending our hopes, or even with the Vince days. Like, there's always been something that's happened. Now, the Vince teams obviously weren't as good, but what we've seen with this team, they've been at least a 50-win team, I want to say, for the last, 5 years?
Yeah, they needed to get over the hump. And the city in general, you're looking at 26 years without going to a major championship. Like, I don't count Toronto FC as, a major league in MLS, so there's that. But 26 years since the Blue Jays won in 93. The city's been starving. Like, if you look at cities like Boston, who seem to be going to a championship every season, if it's not football or basketball or baseball, like, it's been a starvation out here for 26 plus years. So it was a big moment for the city, and it celebrated. Nobody got arrested.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. But yeah, it was great moments.
Let's quickly, like I said, recap Game 6. As the game was going on, I was watching with a friend, and before the game had happened, I ended up selling the game because I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that they were going to close out, coming off that big momentum with Game 5, and then Game 6 happens, and I said, okay, this is the closeout game at home. They can't allow this to go back to Game 7, because if they do, it's going to be a problem. Going on the road,
really tough.
But they were down. Was it 15?
They were down 15 again, and it looked like the game was getting away from them. I particularly didn't think the officiating was doing them any favors. But the Bucks were just hitting all these shots. They're hitting the threes, and it looked like it was going to be a rough go. I thought around the third quarter, that's when they made that run. And then, again, I think they had only. They were down 7 at the half, I believe, and then cut it down to 5, and then they went on that mini run to end the third. And in the fourth, they just, again, I was cursing at the television because I saw Nick Nurse took out Kawhi, and I'm like, we had all the momentum. I'm like, don't do it. But it worked out because, a 9-2 run without Kawhi. Kawhi got a breather, and then they didn't look back from there. They just, they shut down the Bucks' three-point shooting. Just didn't, they started off hot, like about 50-60% started off the game. And in the third quarter, they went real cold. Fourth quarter, they went cold. And, yeah, the Raptors took advantage. Some big shots from Fred. Serge with a dunk.
Serge had some really big momentum dunks that kind of changed it for the Raptors. But I was speaking with Zane about this, too, and it was documented online after the fact. But the series really tilted once Kawhi started guarding Giannis.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to do his 5-step Euro step through the lane, and Kawhi really locked him down on the outside. He wasn't able to get into the lane. The Raptors' defense had collapsed, and what we saw was the Raptors might have the best defense in the league. Obviously, there's only 2 teams left, but when the Raptors are dialed in with everybody they have, the size, and of course missing OG, who might come back halfway through the series, they're a tough defensive team when they set up in the half court, and that's going to be a problem for any team. Golden State, you hope to slow them down, but we'll get into Game 7 in just a second or so, but the Raptors showed us some things in the last series that they didn't show us early when they were down 0-2, but they made some adjustments. I guess you have to credit Nick Nurse along with the players for making those adjustments.
Yeah.
And, with some timely shots, some defense, and a bit of luck, I guess, as well. Fred VanVleet came to play after the birth of his child. Shout out to him, because he was non-existent for a series and a half, or maybe even 2 series.
Again, the Philly series, he wasn't very good. In the Orlando series, he had some moments, but he had been for the majority of the whole series, that in the Philly series, he had been a black hole, to be honest with you. And
Norm Powell too came to play a few games.
Yeah,
he came from the bench of not playing much minutes. And last series, he wasn't even playing much at all. He was barely in the rotation.
I mean, we always talk that the Raptors don't really have a lot of guys that can create their own shot, but Norm is a guy that when he's on. He can definitely, he's got the dribble capabilities. He can create his own shot. And if you look at it, the Raptors won a lot of these games without any contribution from a guy that's probably considered their best shooter in Danny Green, who was basically benched for the majority of Game 5. And Nurse gave him a lot of minutes in Game 6, but he just wasn't hitting shots.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a decent defender, but he just wasn't on his game. So I think Nurse adjusted to it. I particularly didn't think he gave Green too much of a leeway in Game 6, but it all worked out. Had we lost the game, I think that would have been a big narrative. But all in all, you just got to give it to Kawhi. And again, he did lock Giannis down. I think it exposed Giannis a bit without his shooting. And his free throw shooting was not, what it was. I mean, he was 67%, I believe, in the regular season, maybe around 70 actually. And I don't know what happened to him, if it was the pressure, but he finished, I believe, under 50% from the free throw line. It was something, especially in the last 4 games, it wasn't good. And then, that put a lot of pressure on guys like Middleton and Brogdon and Bledsoe, who again had
Bledsoe can't shoot to save his life,
and then there was the situation that Lopez had that great Game 1, but he never really had he had
a few games actually.
A few games, but he wasn't like someone.
But for Brook Lopez, he was pretty good.
Yeah,
right.
And then Mirotic, who everyone thought was going to be a game changer, he barely played in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So they had a
really Silva was probably one of their better.
Yeah, I mean in that blowout game, he was hitting everything, but. I mean, credit to the Raptors. I mean, they're going to need a lot more of that in a consistent effort. Even Kyle, I always trash Kyle for a lot of what his efforts were, but he actually came to play throughout the series, and I was highly impressed by that. So I'll give him credit. Though again, like I said, he has that whole playoff choker mentality that it was the case for years. But I'll give him credit. He had a pretty damn good series. So
he did.
I'll call a spade a spade.
Quickly before we get into the final, I just want to talk about the situation that was going around the city because I was down there after the game. You ended up coming down after.
Yeah, that's correct.
I hadn't seen it like that I don't know the last time I saw it that crazy. I want to say I know when Italy won the World Cup back in the day, that was kind of like a little niche thing, but the streets that's as crazy as I had seen it. But for a Toronto thing, I'm thinking maybe when the Blue Jays had their run where they got to the American League Finals, and even then
it was. I mean, I've been to a lot of those things where, again, it does get crazy here when the Leafs actually do have some success, like the cars. Everybody goes crazy for
success being the first round.
Well, again, I remember those Matt Sundin days back in 2002 where they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and stuff like that. The cars would go crazy. People would be on the streets for ages on end.
Yeah.
But for the Raptors, it was definitely a first of people really going to that insanity. I mean, I saw people jump on buses.
It was all over Instagram. It was all over everything. World Star, whatever you want, it was everywhere.
Police officers. And it's a great thing because, again, after so many years of futility, they finally got over the hump.
Yeah.
And it was something that the city needed, like I've been saying, and it was great. I was overjoyed. I definitely didn't think that. I mean, Milwaukee had only lost.
They didn't lost three. Yeah,
they only lost a couple of times back to back. Only I think once or twice during the season. Hadn't lost 3 in a row, and then to beat them 4 times in a row, a 60-win team. That's a heck of an accomplishment. So yeah, I mean, what else can you really say? They came to play, came back in a lot of those games, and Kawhi Mia River, whatever else you want to do it. It was an amazing
Drizzy had the hoodie on.
Yeah, and he was he knew it. He called it. He was as soon as that Game 5 victory went down, he was uber confident, and that helps the players. And I think Kawhi's mentality of being very calm and low key helps the players as well. And yeah, who knows what's gonna happen going forward.
Well, we're gonna talk about who knows what's gonna happen because right now we're gonna start this NBA Finals preview. I'm going to have to go back and say that I said, I said this is the Golden State. Golden State's here. And we knew they were going to be here. We pretty much knew they were going to be here. We weren't sure at the beginning of the year who they were going to face. Most people had Boston, like we kind of had said. And Lamar picked Boston. I said if I had to bet money, I'd take Boston, like my own money. But I said, if I'm betting for value, trying to make a little bit of money, I said, give me Toronto. And I said, if they do get to the finals, I'm going to roll the dice. Well, I'm here and I'm ready to roll that dice. I'm ready, and not only do I think they're going to win, I'm actually confident they're going to win. And I've made some comments online, and of course, everybody wants to trash you until something actually happens, right? So everybody's going to pick the favorite, whether it be when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, even back then didn't have much of a shot. When the Patriots lost, and they're 14-point favorites against the Rams back in the day.
Oh, when
their first one,
the underdogs,
yeah. There's always, like I said, every dynasty has to fall. And this is the perfect recipe right here. I want to get into Kevin Durant not playing. I don't think he's going to be playing in this series. And if he does, to be honest, that's probably better for the Raptors.
Yeah, because I think they've gone. I mean, Golden State got into some kind of rhythm in that Portland series where they got back to just being that team that won 73 games without Durant, and the ball movement. I think Draymond's been as good as he's been for years the last 5 or 6 games. So again, with Durant or without Durant, they're going to be a tough team to beat. Obviously, I mean, you can't legitimately say that maybe they'll be a worse team when you have maybe the one or
best player
in the world, right? Like that's saying, but you never know. Like if he's hobbled, like he won't be able to defend properly. If he's not shooting the ball well, it'll take away touches from Steph, Draymond, Clay, and so forth. But the great thing that, again, I think someone mentioned this on social media, is that this Raptors team has a lot of comparables to that 2011 Dallas team, based on the fact that everyone knows their role. Like Dirk was the star. I think they had like same kind of situation where they had beaten Miami. They had beaten Miami a couple of times during the regular season. It was one of those things where it has a lot of comparables to what was going on. And again, we can hope for it, that's for sure. But the Raptors, this Golden State team is going to be tough. It really depends on how they shoot. It's going to be a different series than the Milwaukee series, simply based on the fact that I think Milwaukee and even Philly tried to play a lot of bully ball in terms of trying to get it inside a lot. Give it to Giannis, or trying to plow through everybody to get to the rim. I don't see the Warriors doing that, because besides Draymond, I don't really see a ton of bruisers. They're more of a perimeter team, shooting a ton of threes, and they'll live and die by the 3-ball. And in the games that the Raptors beat them in, like Durant had 51 in the first game, I was there for that. He played absolutely phenomenal. The Raptors still won in overtime. The one in Golden State, they couldn't hit a 3 to save their lives. And
we
Kawhi,
won by 20 plus without Kawhi.
Without Kawhi, yeah. Like the Raptors won by 20 plus without, and they shot terribly. And they've shot terribly against the Raptors. They shot only 30% from the 3-point line. If the Raptors can even manage something around that, or even maybe 35%, they have a real good chance of winning this series. Because, like I said, it's a team that if Steph, and especially when Durant's not playing, if Steph or Clay aren't shooting the ball well, sure, Draymond's been a little bit better than what he's been, but I mean, I'll take that opportunity.
And you'll let him shoot, yeah.
Because I think Kawhi will lock down Clay, and then even looking at it, the Raptors will go after Steph defensively. I mean, I think we've seen that. That's a big. I even saw Danny Green, who realistically is mostly just a catch and shoot player, dribble by Steph, get easy layups. Like they're definitely going to attack Steph defensively. So I think that's going to wear him down. I guess most teams try to do that as well, but I think the Raptors have the personnel for it. And yeah, inside, I think depending on if it's DeMarcus Cousins or Looney, again, if it's Cousins, obviously that poses a bigger problem for Marc Gasol or Ibaka. But I think the Raptors have got a decent opportunity there, because again, DeMarcus' defense isn't great. So there's going to be opportunities there.
Lamar might disagree with you.
I think that I think DeMarcus is a great scorer of the ball inside. I wouldn't say he's a defensive stalwart, especially coming off his leg injury.
Defensively, no, but even coming off the Achilles injury, and then also with the quad.
Sure.
We talk about Durant not being 100%. What I was saying, I think it was to you earlier, is if you see DeMarcus Cousins in this series, I'll bet you money that Golden State's down in the series and Steve Kerr's reaching for any kind of answer he can get. Because I don't really know how you go into this series. You've seen DeMarcus Cousins play, like I said, and he wasn't great when he played. He had a few flashes, but he wasn't great when he played. In the first game where they went off, and then after that, they kind of struggled to get him in, kind of like I had assumed, because this is an up and down team, and DeMarcus Cousins obviously doesn't have that much speed, so it kind of clashes with their style. But with the bench unit, maybe you can do something like that. But I want to talk about Steph Curry, because love him as a player, you know what I mean? Aisha's coming to town, by the way, you know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on, what's going to happen there. But anyways, Steph Curry, 2-time MVP, unanimous MVP once. But what we've seen with him is he hasn't won the Finals MVP. We've had Durant win it twice, and we've had Iggy win it once.
Iguodala won it once as well, yeah.
So what I wanted to say is, even in this series against the Blazers, they swept them. He was pretty good.
Yeah,
we've seen better, but that was his best series this playoffs for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But in the finals, he hasn't been the same guy. We've seen Dellavedova shut him down. You know what I mean? Like, shut him down, do a really good job on him. That's a small, pesky guy. And now you're probably going to have either Kyle or Danny Green on him. If it was me, I'd put Danny Green on him because of a little bit of additional size. Mm-hmm. And Steph really struggles with guys that are bigger than him shooting over them, because, even if Danny Green's going to play, let's say, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, mm-hmm. Danny Green's not doing much except sitting in the corner on offense. So you're going to say, you know what? Run around every screen, chase this guy, make sure hands in his face at all times, go over every pick, and pretty much let's try and do what other teams have done to him in the finals.
Well, that's true. And again, Danny can't have worse finals than what he had in the Eastern Conference Finals, anyways. To be honest, in terms of.
But defensively, he's been there. I'll give him that.
Defensively, he's been there. And again, he's had Steph when he played in the Golden State game, was in a lot of issues there. So yeah, Danny can pose a challenge there. They're gonna have to defend the pick and roll properly. Obviously, that's the bread and butter of the Warriors in terms of getting Steph open. And again,
Gasol's another piece in that.
Gasol's another piece, and again, Ibaka. Again, matchup wise, and even Siakam, Clay's already said it. They're long, lengthy. They're gonna be problematic.
Yeah.
They're gonna be problematic. And then you look at it from another standpoint. I don't know who. I guess maybe Clay's gonna be on Kawhi. More than likely Iguodala, but Iguodala is again he's 35 years old. He's breaking down a little bit.
And he's still a really solid defender, but how many minutes is he going to give you guarding Kawhi? Right?
I don't think Iguodala is going to be out there 40 minutes, and he's coming off an injury that again comes and goes, and when he flares up with his age. So like I said, they're primed for the picking, depending on how things go. I think the Portland was just a great matchup for them. One because. Again, it was more of a perimeter matchup, and they didn't really have the guys. Yeah, they didn't really have the guys inside to really cause problems. I think again,
Nurkic would have been a problem.
Miles Leonard had a great series against them.
And he didn't play all year, so that's.
You look at some guys like Gasol. I'm expecting bigger things from the guys inside because they have an advantage there. I don't think Looney can play 30+ minutes. And then you look at their bench. Livingston's barely playing. McKinney was a guy the Raptors cut. He's seemingly giving him some good minutes.
He's giving him like a quarter.
But again, it's also when the finals come up, the depth. I'll take the Raptors.
Get exposed. Exactly.
I'll take the Raptors' depth. If Fred can keep doing what he's doing, and Ibaka, and I think it's going to take 10 guys. And I think OG hopefully gets some minutes, and he can be used as another lockdown defender.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he hasn't played in a month, so that's maybe asking him a bit.
But even like I said, if he's going to come back and he's going to play 8 minutes for you, just to buy some time for the other guys, just
even Patrick McCall,
another guy can play defense.
With some defense, and he hasn't been used much, so.
And he's going to be obviously ready to go against his old team too, right? Yeah. For whatever minutes he gets. You brought up Kawhi, and you talked about Clay guarding him. Now, I obviously just people talking basketball with me all the time. I was at the gym with one of my buddies, and this guy had brought up that Golden State's game plan is going to be stop Kawhi. Easier said than done. And what everybody says is, everybody's go-to thing, which was, like I had said before, people are like, oh, Kawhi's a system player. Kawhi, everybody's lying to is, Kawhi's a really good scorer, but he's not a great or elite scorer. And in my mind, I'm like, you're lying to yourself. But the guy was top 5 in scoring average of the season, I believe, averaging over 25 points. You don't do that by accident. Maybe, I want to say his handle's not as crazy. It is. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what people are looking for in a player when they're trying to look me in the eye and say that Kawhi's not an elite player or an elite scorer. It's like, what else do you need to see? I
think what people really lack in terms of seeing what Kawhi has, and you look at it, some of the stuff that he does, is that he looks like a big guy, but his strength level is something that I think catches a lot of people off guard. And he's got a good handle. I saw some stuff that he does that he's got some great
It's very quick. And what I was going to say,
he's just strong.
Yeah,
he's like an ox.
Which reminds me, remember the Paul George where they were in OKC, and then Paul George tried to bot him, and he looked back at him like this.
Yeah, you look at a situation where he's I think it was Ben Simmons, where he collided with Ben Simmons.
Ben went flying.
And Ben went flying,
and
he just stood there,
and he
just took it like it was nothing. Yeah. And I'm like, he's just strong like an ox. He's not
the biggest.
Strong, I don't know. I think. Giannis might be bigger.
This is the thing. Guys might look bigger, but one thing I've realized even from playing, you can't just look at someone and be like, that guy's a monster, because there's some guys that look big, they're not as strong.
But Giannis was more of a thing that looked like Giannis could, if he was properly against weaker defenders, he could have that Shaq impact where no one could really guard him because of the length. But obviously he was exposed a little bit because they would bring Kawhi would be on, they'd bring an extra defender. And then they would get him, to get rid of the ball. And Kawhi out, blocks and steals and all that and so forth. But he's strong, and Clay's a great defender.
Very good. I don't like Clay as a guy, but he's a great defender and a great shooter.
But again, against Kawhi, he's gonna have his hands full. And again, that's gonna be probably the matchup of the series if Durant doesn't play. Because again, if he takes away Clay and Clay doesn't get his scoring up, then a lot of the scoring burden falls onto Steph, and then and Draymond, I guess. And again, if Clay doesn't average, I would say, into the 20s or into the 15s or so forth, and Steph's going to have to go off of those 40-point games that they expect to win. Not to mention, I think this will be a series where Siakam's athleticism is going to be
tested against Draymond for sure.
Draymond, right? And I think that'll be the situation there. And if he gets Draymond into foul trouble, Like I said, their lack of depth.
That'll be a big problem for Golden State if that happens.
And then you got Draymond's also a dirty player, so you should watch out for that. He busted Valanciunas' hand. You figure that was the game that Valanciunas broke his finger. So you got to watch out for Draymond because he can lose his temper. And the kicks also that. To me, again, he's not a player I like to watch, to be honest with you, because he's again very dirty. But again, it's gonna be a matchup series, and Kyle, what he brings, and Fred, and Norm. Again, there's opportunities there.
The thing is, it seems like everybody's clicking at the right time. I mean, we mentioned the words destiny, fate. It just seems like you look Orlando series, the game one, I was a write-off. I said I'm not going again until they get to the next round, and they won 4 straight again, just like the last year. They won 4 straight. So, and then Philly came, we blew them out in game one, from what I remember. At least it was a convincing win. And people are like, oh, this series is going to be over in 4 or 5. Doesn't match up well with Philly. Raptors didn't hit a shot in game 2, managed to still be in the game. Danny Green missed a shot at the buzzer.
I think we blew them out at 5. Game 5 was the one where we.
Game 5 was the blowout in Philly on a Sunday. I remember that one. Or sorry, no, that was
game 5 was
home.
Game 5 was Philly beat us in 6.
Philly beat us in 6 when everybody thought that was going to be a closeout game, and then 7 was the shot. That's right.
Badly in game 5.
But getting back to what I was saying is, I just feel that destiny, fate, and all that stuff, I wouldn't feel the same way, although I'd probably stick to my pick anyways of the Raptors. But with Fred, he's shooting like 75% from 3 right now. It's not going to last, of course. But I'll tell you one thing, it's better than the 15% he was shooting in the previous games.
Sure.
And at least going into the series, guys are confident saying, even Kawhi and all these guys, where it's like, if Kawhi's going to drive in, get double teamed, the help's going to come. He might have been hesitant before, like Kobe back in the day, where like to kick out to someone. If it's Fred there, you see it, right? You might make that pass to someone else, or maybe go up a little bit stronger. But with even Norm's not a good shooter, but he's shooting the ball respectively this playoffs. Mark's done a good job shooting the ball when he's been open.
Lately, yeah.
He hesitates way too much, but
he does.
The point is, like I said, I feel like everybody's clicking at the right time. Orlando didn't really have it; it was more Kawhi taking it over. Phillies, we saw a little bit at the end, but after this Bucks series, everybody's kind of coming together at once. And I wanted to get into something a little, not a rant, but just make a little point about how a lot of people have brought up the numbers about Golden State, talking about how, is Golden State a better team without Kevin Durant? They're 20-2. They show the points, for and against, the blocks, the plus minus, all that BS.
Okay.
What people need to understand is, your boy LeBron, when they got to the finals, I'll tell you one thing: Golden State is not winning that series without Kevin Durant hitting that game-winning shot in his face. Right?
Oh, of course not.
Now, you can do what you want. You can get to the finals. You can beat Portland, who should never have been there, I don't think, to begin with, especially because they were fool's gold, old Raptors of the West. But I'll tell you one thing. If and when Golden State loses the series or goes down, they're going to be begging or wishing, praying that Kevin Durant was healthy. Because what I want to say as well is, if Kevin Durant's healthy, just like my Portland pick last time, I don't have the balls really to be like, I'm confident the Raptors are going to win. But even Cousins, I'm not talking about Cousins, but Kevin Durant's out, and even if he comes back, looked like he tore his calf. If not, it was a second-grade strain.
It looked like a 2-month injury.
He couldn't walk off the court, right? So I'm not making these picks if Kevin Durant's healthy, but he's not healthy. And the Raptors are clicking. Everybody's healthy. Kawhi's a little bit banged up, but he's good.
Well, 4 days off is going to help him.
Yeah, and all these people, like I said, the Warriors are a better team without Kevin Durant. You don't know basketball if that's the case.
No,
you're a numbers person. This guy's better.
They see the sweep, and again, people don't realize that it's all realistically about matchups. Just because Portland was able to take out Denver in 7 games and win one. You also think that a lot of that was Damian Lillard was playing at a much higher level, and CJ was playing at a much higher level. And people forget that in those games, it wasn't like the Warriors blew them out. There were 3 out of 4 of those games.
They were down big. Yeah.
Portland was up 15 points, and they just didn't have the depth to really get at them, especially if Dame was playing with like a bruised rib or whatever it was, a cracked rib. He just didn't have the impact like he had in the first series when he was hitting game winners over Paul George against OKC. So like Dame just again started to fade, and the Raptors, and they didn't have the depth. And then you have Cantor who was injured. Then they didn't have Nurkic. The team was really running on role players doing a great job. Miles Leonard was averaging like 25 points in the series. It's an insane situation. But like if you think Miles Leonard averages 25 and you get anything from Dame and CJ, most of those games you're probably going to win. But it just didn't happen. And then Golden State's depth, and they get hot. They're a hot and cold team. It's a perimeter team shooting the 3.
Portland.
Well, even Golden State. I would say that Golden State is a.
I wouldn't say they're a streaky team.
To me, they're very, like, again, because like watching especially the games that I watched against the Raptors, they rely on the three heavily. They don't really go inside looking for much.
Most teams.
Well, again, Houston, them, and so forth. And they have the 3-point shooters.
Three-time champions. So it's not like they don't have, like, if anybody you can say is not.
But they're a team that if they're down, the team that they're down, they'll chuck up like 40 3-pointers or whatever the heck. Yeah, I think they had a record in Portland where they shot like so many, the most threes. So they're a 3-point based team because that's how you kind of shoot your way in and out of games. Yeah. And when the Raptors blew them up by 25, they couldn't hit a shot. Couldn't hit a shot. They were down. I think it was like a 20%. Yeah. The Raptors killed them because the Raptors were just taking advantage of all the matchups. So, yeah, I mean, if the Raptors were going to win something, now that they've gotten here, they have an opportunity. I'm just going to say, leave it at that.
I also want to talk about quickly just Kevin Durant missing him on offense is one thing. Now, it's tough because Draymond's a defensive player of the year. Clay's an all-defensive first team or second team every year. But Kevin Durant, although, like, because he's carrying so much of the burden on offense, you can't really bring that every night on defense because it's just so taxing. Just having a guy that's 7 feet tall with a 7'3" wingspan, following you around the court. If he was guarding Kawhi, or guarding anybody for that matter, but he would guard Kawhi. That's a like I said, I don't think that Kawhi's going to be stopped in this series. I don't think he'll really have a bad game. He should still average 20, 25, maybe even more points than that. But
35, those virtuosos.
That would be nice. Provided that everybody else can contribute a little bit.
Yeah, that's true too.
But that's the thing, you're missing another, let's say top 15 wing defender in the league in Durant. And, when he was healthy, got some Defensive Player of the Year votes. And the style, I feel like Golden State plays a different style when Durant's there as well because there's a lot more ISO ball, which is not a bad thing because everybody's thinking, ISO ball is bad, whatever. James Harden's done it forever now. It hasn't worked in the playoffs, but it's worked in the playoffs until you run into Golden State every year, which was Toronto's problem. So you're losing to the champions every year.
To Cleveland, you mean?
No, I'm saying when Golden State would play Houston. I'm saying for Houston it works all the time. Okay. Until you run into Golden State, who's been the best team, like I said, one of the best teams of all time. Fair. So what are you really losing there? But yeah, when the ball's going to move a lot more, and that's why as a defensive unit for the Raptors, you're going to have to run around the court a lot more.
Fair, but again, if you look at it, I mean, Gasol, again, he's not what he used to be, the Defensive Player of the Year at one time. Kawhi might be the best defender in the NBA. I think Siakam's defense is pretty underrated. He might make an all-defensive team at some point. Kyle tends to be sometimes great, sometimes not. He
still
draws the charges. Danny's not a bad defender.
It's a bunch of plus defenders.
It'll be the best defensive team that they face in terms of Golden State against the Raptors because I think, again, while Houston has certain individuals.
Houston has some guys you could go against.
Yeah, but so the Raptors will be their biggest test defensively because the Raptors play really well as a unit. Again, without having a guy charge into the lane, this will be Raptors got to adapt because again, Giannis comes in. That was the Milwaukee offense. Giannis charges in, passes the ball off, kick out. They either hit the shot or not, push it around. Raptors, I don't think are going to really have that kind of issue. I mean, Steph will have handles and so forth, but they won't have to get 3 guys trying to get in there. So they're going to have to play better perimeter defense and not leave guys wide open because, again, the Bucks were actually a really good 3-point shooting team in the regular season. Yeah. They just, again, a lot of them just couldn't find their rhythm, or if they did, it would only be in spurts, and then they'd go massively cold. So it is what it is in terms of that.
It's like in the playoffs, and I've said this as well. Like in the playoffs, when you're in the regular season and you have, let's say, even Kyle, when Kyle used to be, a 20-point-a-game guy, a lot of Kyle's minutes in the regular season are going against bench units. Like, you remember you always talk about Kawhi coming off earlier, resting at the end of a quarter, the beginning of a quarter.
Yeah.
They would do it so that Kyle would miss maybe a middle, and then he would start with the bench unit. So you're going against, I don't know, Frank Mason on Sacramento or whatever, right? Like, you're going against bench guys as opposed to going against maybe like a starting point guard who can actually play defense. So, and now in the playoffs, when all these teams are going against the best possible matchup, you're not going to shoot your regular season clip. Most guys are not going to do it. And now you're seeing that, whereas guys are, like I keep saying, some guys get exposed, whereas Danny Green, if you're a 3-point shooter and your spot's in the corner, Pascal Siakam, we've seen him struggle, we're going to run you off the line and make you dribble the basketball. And you're not comfortable doing that. So Danny Green's been forced out of not really playing or embarrassing himself at times in this series. Remember when he dribbled the ball and lost it or got stripped at the end of one of the games?
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
that
was in the Philly series.
I was in the Philly series. Yeah. I think that was game 6.
And they've done that again. Like I said, they've done it to Kyle in the playoffs when big guys like John Wall or George Hill have been on him. And the same thing with Curry. For as great as Curry is, he might go down as the best point guard ever when it's all said and done. Who knows, right? He's another guy who's 6'2" with NBA standards, very limited athleticism, right? And what are you going to do when a guy if they were to put Kawhi on him? Like, let's say that theoretically the Raptors say, Kawhi, you're guarding Curry.
Okay.
Is he putting up numbers?
So the thing with that is that, I mean, they would definitely run a lot of pick and roll, and that would
Try and free him up.
And I think that's what they're going to do at any point, anyways. Would he get locked down? Obviously, I don't think he's getting by.
He's not putting the same numbers up.
But again, it really it would depend on he makes his living off of either
pulling up
on the threes or getting open dribbles, and so it really depends. Sometimes he's really in it, sometimes not. The series that they lost to the LeBron, the Cavs. I personally, and I think I was on record on this show when it happened. I knew the series was a wrap when LeBron dunked on him. And then he looked down on him. I just think that LeBron took his soul from that series, and that's what it was. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, this is done. It's done. The series is done because the way that he just looked at him in disgust. I think that really affected Curry for the rest of the series, and he didn't have a good rest of the tournament.
Well, like I've said, he hasn't really had a
can blame Draymond for getting kicked out or whatever the hell.
That was probably the real reason, but
I mean, once again, LeBron just stole his soul, and now he literally when he looked down on him, damn, that's a turning point right there when he just dropped him on that dunk, and I think it's a very similar situation in terms of how these teams are run. And even looking at I think the Raptors are a better version of the Cavs team that got swept last year because they had a lot more depth. I think, they besides Kevin Love last year, I don't think the Cavs had much because they weren't getting anything from Hill. God knows J.R. Smith was on another planet half the time. And I think Kawhi is basically this year's version of LeBron, maybe better defensively. And again, he's not the pass that LeBron is.
Not maybe defensively.
No, obviously
he's
he is
better defensively.
But he's not the passer that LeBron is. I think.
Of course, yeah.
And again, but he's basically that situation where it's the one superstar. And there's other. I think Siakam should have been an all-star. Kyle was an all-star technically. Gasol's been an all-star for years. And now he's 35. Is a different story. They have capabilities, so it's definitely.
They have the chess pieces.
They have the chess pieces for sure. And I think Ibaka. I think he came out today and said that. Because he was on that team with Durant, the 3-1 team, that he still thinks that that was a really bad taste in his mouth terms of them losing that series. So he was looking for retribution and redemption. Now he's got an opportunity. I think he'll have a good series too because inside, depending on who's there,
who's going against him, McKinney, Looney.
Jordan. God knows whoever they're gonna put in there. If it's Bogan, again, even if it's DeMarcus Cousins, I think he's got an opportunity there to make a big impact. He needs to drive more. Every time he takes those damn threes, I clinch up because he hasn't been great from it. But he needs to drive more and use his size there. But it'll be an interesting series, man. It's not going to be easy for either team.
And that's what I'm not. But a lot of people are doing a lot of uneducated people are giving the Warriors and 4 or 5 and all that.
Some Americans that
and I can't wait. And like I tell everybody else, viewers and everybody, this is for Torontonians and everybody. If and when the Raptors win the championship, all these people went to the bakery, grabbed a coffee earlier, and people have my Raptors shirt on. They're looking at me in the eyes and they're saying, "Oh, Toronto has no chance. Enjoy the party." I looked them in the eyes and said, "I don't want to see you at the parade when they win. Do not be there.
Oh boy.
Don't be there. Don't be there for the party because
if you know basketball, especially the way the teams have been playing, it'd be nonsense to release it, especially with home court advantage. It'd be really nonsense that you think that again. Is it out of the realm of possibilities? You never know because, like I said, the Raptors could turn into what they were at some points in the Philly series and rely on Kawhi the entire time. But I don't think, especially with the first 2 games at home, that they will be swept out of this series. Especially with Golden State out for 10 or 11 days.
You have the world watching. You have the world watching.
Which might get nerves, right? The experience might.
If they started on the road, maybe.
Sure.
I just think, man, the crowd it's gonna be insane. And all these guys, they've played best when their backs have been against the wall. We saw that in the Philly series when they were down, and we saw it in the Bucks series when they were down 0-2, they didn't bounce back. And there was that clip that I posted as well when all of the American guys, that was Van Pelt, that was Stephen A. Smith, the other guy that ended up leaving with Fox Sports, Colin Cowherd. These guys are done. Funny enough, Americans not respecting the Canadian team for whatever reason. I get it, but DeMar's gone. Kawhi couldn't have done anything more than he's done in this playoff run. He's shown that he's the best player left in the playoffs, best player in the world. KD's hurt, LeBron's done. It's not an argument. The Raptors have the best player in this series.
Yeah.
Once again, let's make that a clip.
Well,
the Raptors have the best player in the
series.
series.
People have been arguing that Steph's current 5-game run has been great, but it hasn't been the entire series.
Kawhi's defense puts him over the top as well.
And that's the thing in terms of talent level there. And as much as for the American guys, you look at what was happening again, especially when Milwaukee was up 2-0. I mean, they had come off the 4-1 beatdown of Boston. They had swept Detroit. I mean, they were like what?
They're
11,
a powerhouse.
11,
They've been a powerhouse
yeah.
all year.
They
blow teams out.
they were in a situation where it looked like a lot of people were picking them to beat the Warriors based on what was happening because again they blew out the Raptors in Game 2. I mean the Raptors had them in Game 1 and then let it slip through their hand in the fourth quarter. So they were like you could see why some people thought the series is over because. You know what? Like they just blew them out. Like, look at what they did to Boston. No way they're gonna lose both games in Toronto. But again, the series doesn't start until the road team loses.
I was just gonna say
that's what everyone says. Everyone has that old school metaphor where again until the home team loses, that's when the series. And the Raptors again, that first one was double overtime. I mean, it was a real like it was crazy. So Pascal missing the free throws.
How many opportunities? They had every opportunity to take the game.
That was the thing. And then Kyle had fouled out. They were down to Fred, who wasn't shooting well. They were down
Jeremy Lin, Meeks.
They were. I don't know. Well, I don't think it got to that point. But they needed.
Played, yeah.
I think
Norm and Kawhi were handling the ball.
Norman, and then Fred couldn't hit a shot. So that to me was the turning point when they got out of there. And then Game 4 they won pretty handily. And yeah,
the rest is
history. Again, the big one was obviously winning in Milwaukee, which I thought personally, I thought that was going to be this was going to go to 7 based on the fact that Milwaukee they're going to come on. They did come on hard, but then fell apart in the fourth quarter. And then when the Raptors won that game,
that's when momentum shifted, and that's when everybody's like, we're winning Game 6, right?
Yeah, because in the fourth quarter, and especially when they really got to the bench, the Raptors bench just went crazy. They outscored Milwaukee 48-24. Like they were getting everyone playing, and they're gonna need that in this series for sure. That's if it's just Kawhi and again the 11,
they got no shot.
They got no shot.
Like I said,
it's just being realistic.
I think that everybody and you had spoken about whether there's going to be some pressure there, and like I had said just a minute ago, I feel like if they start on the road, maybe you have a bit of that, right? Where it's like because the Raptors are notoriously slow starters, especially in the playoffs this year. They've been bad, but. Man, if the Raptors go up 2-0 to start and win both their home games, which is not out of this world.
The one thing that most people probably will be like, well, the game was back in December or January, wherever it was. Mm-hmm. Them actually going to Oracle and beating Golden State, who had everybody healthy, and Kawhi not being there, that's got to be in their heads, and it's got to be a bit in Golden State heads, because I think that, if anything, will give them confidence, knowing that, you're facing the 3-time or 2-time defending champions. And a team that's been to the finals now on year 5
3 to 4 or 4 to 5. They've been 4 to 5. They've been to the finals 5 years in a row.
5 years in a row now. So because they lost to LeBron. They lost to LeBron and Kyrie, and then they
they 4-1 in the finals.
They're 3-1. 3-1. This will be the fifth.
Yeah. That's
right. All in all, like that should give them confidence. Yes, did everything go their way with Golden State shooting the ball horribly and then them killing them by 25? But that's also been a situation where. That wasn't really the case a couple of years ago because like Oracle used to be like impenetrable. Like they would not lose at Oracle.
Even the regular season hasn't been like that. Yeah.
They got blown up by a lot of teams at Oracle. I think Milwaukee gave them a beating too.
Them by like 30 or something.
So like they're a team that again if the shooting isn't there, especially from the 3-point arc,
they're in trouble.
They're in trouble. So all in all, like that win should give the Raptors confidence. I think Pascal had a crazy good game. Kyle had a really good game.
Fred, I think, went off.
Fred went off too,
well.
So that should give them confidence. And the home crowd getting in. And again, I want to preface this again by saying that I saw it again in Game 6. Don't get up for your $13 beers. Someone actually tweeted to me.
Don't
get up for your $13 beers, especially if you're on the 100 level, because it's on television. It's an embarrassment. And there's services that you can get. Someone tweeted this at me. I think someone actually that worked there tweeted this at me.
The in-game.
There's in-game menus. Order it from your seat. And stay in your seat because again, third quarter, the first 5 minutes,
we always start slow too.
Slow, and there was nobody in the seats again because everyone's out. Because again, being that I was at Game 1 and Game 2. People like socialize.
Trying to rub shoulders with Dre.
It's 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Washroom break.
Well, washroom break is one thing. 15 minutes. Grab something, get back, and again, you're paying hundreds of dollars. Why miss almost the entire?
I don't think in the finals you're going to see that.
I hope because you know why you're going to see that? Because at the end of the day, and you just mentioned, we talked on there, the price of these tickets are massive. If you're not a season ticket holder, the only way you're affording that is if you got business corporations or you have a ton of money going on. Or you're mortgaging something. Yeah. You're trying to impress some girl that you're trying to throw down $2,000 on. Yeah. It is what it is.
You're not going to get in the building for less than 12.
Probably unless you're like working the game, like some of us. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like no one's going to pay. Not a regular people are going to be able to throw down $1,000 on one game unless you're a season ticket holder. So I'm expecting people to get loud, but I'm also expecting a good crowd that's not gonna like not be there for like a whole entire quarter because they will not let you win until the ball until you go on timeout. So that's like 5-6 minutes sometimes into the quarter where everyone's just watching from the stands watching from the entrance to the stands, and there's no one actually cheering for the most part. And I think it's a disgrace. Like, just stay in your seat, order some in-service. Whatever, you want to get tanked, but it bugs the crap out of me, to be honest. It really does.
Let's get into we always do the X factor for both teams. Someone that you think needs to step up. Let's start with Golden State.
So for Golden State, I think that what it'll be for Golden State, it'll be Draymond. I think Draymond brings a lot of energy, and I think it'll again, which Draymond are you going to get? Is Jekyll and Hyde with him this year? I saw a lot of games early on, especially towards the middle of the season, where teams were daring him to shoot. He wasn't hitting any shots. No one was respecting his shot. These last series, especially since KD's been out, completely different player, triple doubles. He's been all over the court. He brings the energy. If he gets frustrated or isn't having a good game, I think that affects them a lot more than anything because he'll get in guys' faces. He'll be technicals, all sorts of stuff, which the Raptors should probably try to nudge him a little bit to try to see for him to get there. So he'll be the X factor because I think he's the energy guy. He'll be getting a lot of the offensive rebounds, or a lot of them will go through him. The Raptors had a big problem in Game 6, especially. I think at one point the rebounding was 20-9 for the Bucks, and at home that's a disaster. They caught up later into the game as they made that run, but the Raptors need to be on the offensive boards and again getting these rebounds. I didn't particularly like what Nurse was doing in Game 6 when it came to a lot of that because again he went small at times where Gasol was the only guy that I would say reasonably had any decent size, and it took Kawhi, who's about 6'7", 6'8", to get about 15, and he led the team in rebounds, which realistically for a guy that size. And again, they palmed the ball with his. Truthfully, if there was ever a guy, and again this is there was ever a guy that was going to be a Toronto Raptor, it would be Kawhi Leonard because he's got a freaking claw, man.
Okay, I'm going to say something else. Okay.
No, well, again, I legitimately, it's something that, again, he can palm the ball like I've never seen a guy do. He has these massive hands. It literally looks like a Raptor hand. It really does. If you watch any of the Jurassic Park, it literally looks like
Vince was very similar to that.
He was.
Vince was exactly.
Not
Vince
for the
was
rebound.
Not on the because he didn't want. Yeah, he didn't care for them.
And he's a guy that again. I saw 3-on-1s going up for offensive rebounds. He would get over guys.
He missed the free throw. He missed the free throw. And he just came down with it. Yeah.
The other one as well. He's a guy that wants it. You can tell. And again, I hear this crap that about from who on Undisputed that he shies away from the moment. He doesn't want the moment.
That's what I love about it.
Garbage. That's complete garbage.
Yeah.
The man wants it. He's the driving engine of the team and the reason that the team is here. So again, Draymond on the Warriors. For the Raptors, it's gonna be Danny. Because I think Danny is again, I think a lot of it's going to be on perimeter shooting and so forth. Danny has to have a decent series. He can't do what he did in the other. Again, he'll likely be guarding Steph, which will be a big time matchup for him. And he's going to take advantage of likely Steph being matched up on him on the offensive end, where he can either exploit that, either drive in and actually finish up these layups, which he has a terrible time doing. But he should literally average at least double digits in the series quite easily.
Or something.
Yeah, and then again, they didn't get much of it. He had a couple donuts the last 2 or 3 games, which is not like him. But he's got to work on his shooting. Hopefully, the 4 days rest can get on there because he's their best 3-point shooter. And he had a great regular season shooting the ball.
They're going to rely, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but then again, how can I forget?
He was at 38-39% from the three. He was at
high volume.
At high volume too. So he needs to step up there. And again, take advantage of the matchup with Steph defensively, get some points, kick it out, and I think he'll be the X factor because I think Kawhi will do his thing and it will open up space for him. And again, he's got to hit these open shots. If he gets hot, they're in a real good stead. And again, I'm not expecting Fred to go off for his 75% from 3. He again off the bench, get into double digits. I think the key thing, and I was mentioning to somebody, if the Raptors get 4 to 5 guys that get double digit scoring, they win the game easily.
Oh, just game 1.
Just in general.
They win the title.
They win the title. If they can get consistent games where 4 to 5 guys getting double digits of scoring, I don't think they've lost a game when that happens. When it's not Kawhi plus one other guy and everyone else has got 7, 5, 2, 0. Yeah. If they get 5 guys consistently in double figures in scoring, they win the game. Simple as that.
It's funny because when you started talking, just something hit me, and I'll start with the Warriors. So. Once again, as I've said, I don't think that Curry's going to have a good series. The only shot that he has is going to be if Kyle has to guard him, and hopefully it's not for too long. Hopefully they can put Kyle on someone else. I'm not sure who they would. Maybe Draymond. Just not at all times, obviously, but we've seen even last series when Kyle guarded Butler, 2 series ago we had guarded Butler before in the post because, just like James Harden, very strong lower body, they're able to.
So Kyle on who?
I'm just saying on switches. If they run a pick and roll, maybe the one on the 5, right? He gets switched on Draymond.
The issue, well, again, I think that one, again, he's had some decent stuff. I think Tobias and Draymond's a little bit bigger, so that might be very tough on Kyle. I think Kyle also has to work on too many chintzy fouls. He tries to do, I think, a little bit too much at times. Gets into foul trouble a lot. Like especially if he's guarding Steph, he's got to stay in the game in terms of you got to be able to be defend properly, but stop with the chintzy fouls. Because again, he was in 4 or 5 fouls quite a bit in terms of in the third, fourth quarter. He was always on the cusp of being kicked out of the game for fouls. So he's got to be smarter with his decision making. Beat Kyle in terms of going for those steals, but again, smart with the decision making.
I finish with my X factor. So, because I said I don't think that Curry's going to have a great series. He can easily average 20 just hitting a few threes, right? But I think that the 2 guys, one of them you touched on, I think are going to be very big for them in terms of secondary scoring, Iguodala and Draymond. I think those guys are going to have to bring it for whatever, because Iguodala, he'll play 25 minutes for sure. They don't have much bench, so maybe he even plays 30, 35 minutes. They'll probably need him to. Spacing, giving Clay a break to guard Kawhi, and then, like I said, Iguodala getting some moments there. And Iguodala, for as bad form, but he can't shoot the free throw well. But that guy somehow he's always knocking down threes. It seems like, especially in the corner with that high-arcing shot. So Looney's another guy. But all these bench guys, I feel maybe it's just because you're going against secondary defenders and you're not really trying to stop them. Clay might do his thing. I think it really depends on who's going to guard him. Clay might get his 20 points from the corner, but I think the Raptors are going to do a lot of just stick with your man and with Golden State's gravity because everybody can shoot the shot. I don't think they're going to be sagging off very much. Golden State's going to try and run a lot of pick and roll, get guys open. That's their best shot. I see a blowout in one of these games at home for Toronto. I think Toronto's going to blow them out in one of the games.
Oh, wow.
Like a 20-point game.
That's ballsy. Well, again, they blew them out at Oracle. And again, it's a very, team that's, again, very...
they're not shooting the ball, like you said.
I consider Golden State a very streaky team when everything is going well. They're a team that can literally be down 15 points, and they can just shoot their way back in it. And they're another one that can really be... Again, you saw it in the Clippers, where I think they were up on the Clippers almost 30 points. And then all of a sudden, their shooting just went cold, and then the Clippers ended up winning the game. So, again, there's
the Clippers brought in defensive guys like Beverly, right?
Yeah, and the Clippers don't have,
they don't have killers, but
Williams was probably the best player. Would you say? Probably Gallinari. Yeah. So then again, there's no Kawhi there. So and again, the Clippers weren't the best defensively. They have some guys like you mentioned Beverly and so forth, but they weren't the best defensive team.
But they gave them their biggest run so far. That's 2 losses.
Sure.
I think they only have 2 losses. They swept Portland.
Well, no,
Houston took 2 or 1.
No, Houston took 2 because they beat them in
6.
In 6, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think Houston held.
And I think that was a blowout in Game 6, anyways. Yeah. But and then getting with the Raptors. Just to finish up how I said that I think that there's going to be a blowout in at least one of the games for Toronto. Once again, if Durant's playing, that doesn't happen. Because then you have a real guy that can go in there, cut, and do whatever.
Still blew him out with Durant last time.
No, when we came here, we won in overtime when Durant played. Because that game was in Toronto.
Yeah, that was 51.
That was overtime.
Yeah, that was overtime. But when we played them in Golden State, and I want to say we, the Raptors.
Yeah. They had someone that was injured that game, I thought. Kawhi was the only guy that missed the game.
No, but I'm telling you, but the Raptors blew them out with
Golden State was fully
stacked.
Steph
was there, Clay was there.
See, I thought someone missed the game on Golden State.
I think Steph missed the game in Toronto.
Yes,
when they got to Oracle, he had just gotten back. And I'm pretty sure
they
all played. Durant was there, Clay was there, all the main pieces were there, and they blew them out. And the other thing, I don't know if was Boogie. Pretty sure Boogie was there. No,
Boogie didn't come back.
Boogie was not there because
he come back to January, February. Yeah. But anyways, it's not crazy saying it now, but I do think there's going to be a blowout. And I do think that the Raptors are going to go up 2-0 in this series in the home games. Right? We'll get to my stuff after. But the 2 home games, I feel that Toronto's going to come on fire. They might even overwhelm them. And this is only, like I said, Durant's out, and I think that the Raptors are going to really bring it defensively. And Golden State's not going to know what hit them. Well, maybe they will because they've been blown out to Toronto before. It might have been a while ago. But I want to let you start off. Let's go. We're going to start off with predictions on the series.
But you got the Raptors X Factor.
Raptors, that's right. So I wrote down Fred and I have Danny here as 2 guys that I think are going to really need to step up for them. And because I think that this series is going to be won at the 3-point line.
I think so too.
Right?
I really think
because the Raptors have the edge on the inside.
Yes,
with
they
guys
did.
like, even though Ibaka's a perimeter, like a spacing big, he still, when he attacks, he's looked really good because guys are really up on him because all he does is shoot. He's had a few dunks from him. He had the cut on his face. He had that big dunk right away as soon as he checked back in. Remember Kawhi got him, and then he checked in the game and threw it down right away.
That was because of the whole cooking thing. I made that mention where, he was trying to offer Kawhi all that,
the stuff that you shouldn't be eating.
The cow penis, and then Kawhi got him back for it at some point. So stuff you shouldn't be eating. But yeah, no, we definitely have the inside for sure. So
like I said, I'm not going to mention Kawhi being an X factor because I think that Kawhi's
the factor.
Kawhi is just the reason, right? But just going off the guys that are going to be started, I think that Kyle's going to have a big series. I think something similar to what he did last round, maybe around 18 to 22 points. I think that if he can do that, even give us 18. If he can give us something like that, the high teens, play his defense, set up the offense, handle the ball. Because we don't really want Kawhi handling the ball too much. It is very taxing, especially when you're going to have Klay on you, and just free up some energy for him, buy some time for the guys to be ready for the fourth quarter so we can bring it. Let's go with predictions, Igor. You're going to kick it off, man. Let's go. NBA Finals, Igor Henriquez.
So again, Vegas has the Warriors as heavy favorites.
I believe it's a minus 300.
Funny enough, though, the line for the first game started off with Golden State. Again, I'm not betting on the game, but it started off with Golden State as a 2-point favorite or a 1.5 favorite. But now the money's coming in on the Raptors, where now the Raptors are a 1-point favorite going into the game one. Because again, the home team, which if you look at it, I mean, I think the Raptors only time the Raptors were underdogs at home. I think they were underdogs in game.
In the Milwaukee games.
In the Milwaukee games,
they were favorites by one.
In the Milwaukee game, the game 4, they were underdog. They were underdog in game 4 because people thought that Milwaukee would come back and win game 4. They didn't. And now they start off as a home. So here's how I'm going to see it. Now I'm on record saying that the Warriors were going to win the championship. But that's how we started.
That is right.
That's how I was on record as looking at it. Now obviously, Durant is injured, and things are again taking a turn for things are getting a little bit interesting.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do the exact same thing because it seemed to work out last time that I did in the Bucks series. So my heart, and again I'm praying this is true, so that the Raptors will win in 7 games. My head says that the Warriors will win in 6 games, based off of experience and so forth. But again, I would say that at the beginning. Going into the finals, I was at about an 80% to almost 100 that the Warriors would win. I'm about 50-50, if not at 60-40.
Well, would you look at that?
It's gone to, because you know what? Like I mentioned to you off air, this Raptors team, as much as again in our hometown and all this stuff, there's something about it. It just seems like one of those teams of destiny, where they're doing things that are like. Kawhi, like the revenge factor from getting hurt against Pachulia and so forth. It's just all coming together where it looks like a team is just on some kind of roll and it won't be stopped.
This is crazy.
It's getting crazy, and I never would have thought again. The DeRozan crap like this with DeRozan this will not be happening.
We are not worthy.
We're not like we would not have gone past Philly. Let's be honest here. I'm gonna stick to that. I'm a leaning toward the Raptors. I literally, just like you, I woke up, I think, like yesterday or the day, and I just walk around, and I'm like, I'll be like, man, I think the Raptors, you know what, screw it. Raptors in 7. That's it. Okay. Forget the mom, going Raptors in 7.
Well, finish with that story. You woke up, and...
I woke up, and I had this feeling that the Raptors are just going to do it. Like, I haven't had this feeling in, like, the longest time. And I was like, oh man, like it's 2-2. They're gonna go back to Milwaukee. Bucks will probably beat us, and then we'll go to 7, and then blah, blah. But now that all this stuff has happened, I'm becoming into a sense where like
you're accepting destiny.
I'm accepting that
like,
this might happen, and then you come back with the Warriors have been to 5 straight. They may be tired.
Now everything I've been saying a year ago is coming up.
Like I said, if the Bucks were in it, I would still have taken. But there's something about this Toronto team, and again, like you said, I think they have the best player in the series. Even if the Durant comes back, he won't be 100%. His calf was probably like he's still giving him problems.
I don't think it's a debate the Raptors have the best player right now because Durant's out.
Yeah, and
if Durant's in, it's a real question.
If Durant was in, I definitely wouldn't be as confident like you mentioned earlier. But with Durant out, And like I said, it isn't like, again, Kawhi does get injured quite a bit, but it's not like Steph Curry doesn't
Ankles.
like roll ankles like every second or third day from the looks of it. They're really one injury away. Golden State is from being in the massive problems, because if Steph goes out, I'll tell you right now, that won't even go 7. It'll be Raptors in 5, in my personal opinion, because they don't have the depth to recover from Steph and Durant. Because if Clay has to carry the team, I think Kawhi will lock him down. So okay, so I'm gonna forget the whole mind thing. I'm gonna go Raptors in 7. That's it,
Guys, I can't believe right now that we're. Well, you know what? I can't even say I can't believe that we're not in the finals, because I somewhat predicted it.
You did, somewhat.
That being said, like you, the whole week, Saturday happened, and it hit me when we won, and I'm just saying to myself, we're here. Like, we made it. And at this point, like I said, same thing with the Super Bowl. You get to the Super Bowl, and it doesn't matter what your story is, any championship, but I guess Super Bowl is just one game. And you're like, you know what? We've made it this far. Flip a coin, because we have just as good a shot as the next team.
Sure.
No matter what happens. Like
Sure.
you saw with Cleveland and Golden State, maybe someone gets hurt, maybe someone gets ejected.
But the difference between that though is that the Cleveland team last year just didn't have the depth.
No, but I'm just throwing it.
So that one, like realistically, I knew that was not gonna happen.
Getting back to my Raptors pick.
Yes.
I'm gonna, like you said, throw 2 things. The Raptors are winning this series. I'm gonna bet money. Like I don't know what. It's not gonna be much, but I'm betting money just so I have more proof.
Yeah, you'll make a bit of money change if true.
The Raptors are either winning in 7 games or, wait for it, 4.
No way. Really?
Just if it happens, don't look at me and say like something happened.
Oh
Like don't look
God.
at me after and say this
You
guy
got
was
this voodoo
whatever.
doll on Steph Curry or something?
Not even.
Wow.
Not even. I just, when a team
Oh.
figures you out, I just think that you're kind of cooked.
Yeah,
And
kryptonite, yeah.
if everything's playing to the part, they got home court in this series, which I think if they didn't have home court, it's a different ballgame, because Golden State maybe wins the first 2 games, you come back, you're kind of different, right?
Okay.
Raptors, to me, are going to take the first 2 games, and like I said 1,000 times, Durant's not playing, and it's better if he does play. Raptors win the first 2 games. Maybe something happens in Game 3 where it's a close one. And like I said, I'm not guaranteeing 4 or anything like that. But I'm pretty much
five at home.
I just maybe 5 at home, whatever it is. But I like I said, I see it. I think 7 is the most realistic. Raptors in 7.
Yeah.
But man, if the Raptors win 4 games, don't say I did not tell you so.
Yeah,
As crazy as that is.
Seeing how you got going
As crazy as that is. Don't come to me after and say, you know what?
Would be remarkable.
And we're going to watch the fall of an empire of just like the fall of Rome here, because when this is done and the Raptors win, Durant's good as gone as it is, right?
Looks that way to probably New York. Yeah, looks that way.
He's gone. And then, Clay probably stays because they have a little bit more money. Maybe they bring someone else in. But then we're going to be at the parade. I'm just envisioning right now.
Someone's going to be at another level.
We'll be at the parade. I'm going to play the voice note for you guys when I woke up Sunday morning after the after party, which was last week. And man, like I'm getting almost like chills thinking about it, because as you know, I've had seasons for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, I've always been a Raptors fan because I love the
Same
Vince and all that, right? But anybody that knows me knows that I've also liked the Clippers growing up, because I like both teams. But obviously, the Raptors are my squad, but the Clippers I just enjoyed playing, growing, whatever, and I stay with them. But never would I thought, being invested in this team, going to all these games, but seeing the disappointment every year. Last year I didn't even get playoff tickets, I don't think. Last year I said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, because I just don't want to go there. And I was like, what's the point? Like, they let me down every year. Yeah. Maybe I'll pick up a few games as it goes on, but I was like, whatever. This year, everything's lining up just like I predicted.
Thank God for Kawhi.
and that's it, guys. Raptors in 7. Raptors winning the title.
Okay.
And we're going to continue this party.
Well, like
for
I
a
said,
while. We'll never forget that.
96 was a while ago. I
don't remember that.
Carlos Rogers, Jean Tabak, Oliver Miller. We had a lot
of Camby's draft year, wasn't it?
I think we had Popeye Jones on that team. Yeah. No, Camby's year was the year after, or after the year after. I think we had Damon Stoudemire, some Mighty Mouse. Like, we've gone through a lot of guys. Like, I think some guy was mentioning it on Twitter.
Oh, they listed all the guys.
They listed all the guys. Like, we've got Eric Mont. We've had some really rough squads and rough teams. And, like, it's finally, like, 23 years later, it's finally paid off. The pay dirt. And it's an amazing feeling, because, like I said, since day one, like, they've definitely let me down. I was a huge supporter of the team in the Vince days.
Yeah, those were good times.
I still personally think, even though, again, they won a few, my favorite series of all time was still the one with Allen Iverson, where I went to 7, because I was so heavily invested in it. I mean, maybe this was, but again, just the back and forth between Iverson and Vince were just so amazing to watch.
And Iverson was MVP at that point, too.
Yeah, so it was, again, that was still my favorite, but those teams were big. And again, we lost Tracy, and then, like, we could have had an opportunity to go to the finals there had he stayed and then developed. Like, there's those ifs and buts and all this other stuff. Chris Childs forgetting how much time was left and all that. The Knicks series. So, you know what? We've definitely earned this, man. Like, it's a situation where, again, you go through so many years of bitter feelings. I still have one to go with the other Toronto sports franchise, the hockey team.
Hey, man, if we get a title here...
But, again, I will take a Raptors title. I personally, again, I thought the other Toronto sports team, to be honest, was going to get further through, not since we got Kawhi, but the way things were going, because it looked like we were going to be rebuilding in no time with the whole DeRozan and Lowry thing not working out. But on the Raptors, thank God for Kawhi. I hope he stays. Give that man a penthouse. Give the man, his own.
Let that man live.
Let that man live. I think winning, again, undervalued situation is winning these games in Game 7 and winning it. And I think it's hard. It's going to be hard for that man to leave. He might have made up his mind already.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the only thing is if he had already made up his decision.
But again,
these are memories that are going to last forever.
The memories that he has from Game 7, the emotion that you don't see from a guy that's usually a robot. The Game 6 situation, how he was talking about Masai, and it looks like him and Kyle are not.
That speech, after they
won
Game 6.
There's just a feeling where if it looked like, that he was likely going to be gone, like when he got it, I would say it's about 50-50, and if they win, I don't see how that.
That's what I've said. I said
because what's the point of that? Like, I guess all of the LA weather, grew up there, I get it, but you go to the Clippers, you're always going to be second fiddle. You have no guarantee that you're going to. Again, the West is probably still going to be stacked. There's no guarantee that you'll come out of there. The East, yes, Philly. You don't know what Philly's going to be because Philly's going to might lose a lot of their players, and Butler and Harris to free agency. Yes, you're going to might have to deal with Giannis for years to come because he's still a young guy. But again, they have a lot of free agents. Like, you're going to run the players.
Middleton's a free agent.
But this is a huge opportunity, and again, I think even his uncle was saying how much he started to love Toronto. I think his uncle was really in his ear. So, all in all, I guess Raptors in 7. I think we're both on. I think again, it'll be an interesting series. Again, 4 would be more. If it's
like
4,
I said, I think that if they win in 4, if the Raptors somehow win in 4 games, that would be. I don't know if you could. Yeah, the biggest upset in NBA history. I think that's safe to say, right?
Sweep for sure.
If they win the sweep,
a Titan team
Steve
like that.
Kerr, who I can't stand, would have a lot of questions, and so everybody on that team would be questioned.
Well, of course, but again, you
could look at everything like DeMarcus, KD's out.
Well, again, there's always the anomalies. You see it almost in every sport. Like,
who's going to score for those?
Like,
when Dynasty's fall.
No, well, that in the sense that sometimes the teams that are really underrated and like again, I don't think a lot of people gave that Dallas Mavericks team a shot in 2011 in terms of when they beat Miami's
first year. Yeah.
Miami's first year, and then again, there's always the situation where it's Durant against the team, and like, do they need him? Do they not? That team hasn't been harmonious throughout the whole year. Not in like the way the Celtics were, but there's been some friction. Are they a more talented team when everybody's healthy than the Raptors? I think we both have the same yes, because they obviously have a stacked roster,
of course,
sure. But there's opportunities. There's that crack, and again, you don't know what's going to happen in the series.
Take advantage of the situation, strike while the iron's hot. All of that. This is what's happening.
All that.
And just to finish up, because I wanted to jump in when you were talking about Kawhi, I had said this in the beginning of the year as well. Not like it was a point or anything, but I was just kind of asking the question. Where I had said, let's say that Kawhi, first of all, what I wanted to say is that Kawhi's already won a finals with the Spurs. He's won a finals MVP against arguably the greatest player of all time, right? Sure. And even though, people can say LeBron went off in that series, when Kawhi and the Spurs beat Miami, and they embarrassed them, because they blew them out a lot of those games in that series.
Well, again, yeah. I mean,
Miami dismembered. What was it, like 5 years ago?
He was like 22. He's still a baby in the league.
4 or 5 years ago. Okay, exactly. A baby did that to LeBron and did that. But my real question was, what is his motivation when you've already won a finals and a finals MVP and beat maybe the greatest player of all time? Is winning still at the top of your list?
See, right? I think the motivation with that is that those Spurs teams weren't his teams, and now he's the big dog in the yard. Like Kyle called him the big dog. I actually love that quote. You gotta let
coming from the bulldog, yeah.
Well, yeah. You gotta let the big dog eat.
Yeah.
I think that's his motivation because. The system player, showing people that he's the alpha, and like again, he doesn't need Tim, he doesn't need Manu, he doesn't need Tony. That he's the alpha dog, that he can carry a team to a championship. And again, he said it basically in the press conference. He doesn't care about being the best player, supposedly.
He wants to win,
but he wants to win. But he also obviously knows he's become more of a volume shooter than what he was before. He wants to be that main guy to win a chip because again, there's all the same situation with Durant. Like there's always gonna be that talk. When
Kyrie, like you said,
Kyrie, right? Was Durant along for the ride, or was he the one main thing? And he hasn't been able to do it by himself. So there's still that talk. And as much as people 2 MVPs, so great. Of course, it's a lot easier when you got Steph and Clay with you. Or you have again instead of Russ, who realistically hasn't been a great playoff performer. And then James, they were still a young team when Miami beat them. Like he hasn't been the alpha on a team that's been centrally with him without those 3 or 4 All-Stars.
Yeah.
So again, with Kawhi, he has that. He wants to be the alpha male in terms of winning something on his own, and I think hopefully, by the way we're talking, they'll get it done.
If the Raptors win this, Kawhi will go down in Toronto history as in just 1 year as for sure the greatest Raptor ever.
Oh, no doubt.
And if they win a title, maybe, although it's only 1 year, he might go down as the best athlete in Toronto history, even though it's just 1 year. The fact that you could just show up, have all those questions when people were asking, like, oh, is he even going to report to Toronto? He doesn't want to be there. There's all this speculation. For him to just be quiet, do his job, load management, everything we've seen this year. Go about his business, be an MVP guy the whole year. Because if he played 82 games, he would have been at least top 3 voting.
Something like that.
And then you just step up and you win a championship in Toronto, of all places. For the American media to see that, and obviously for us, that would, like I said, cement him in the all-time basketball in terms of a season and capping it off. One of the best performances that easily, from what I've been alive, what I've seen.
Well, I mean, like you have a lot of American media calling him the best player on the planet right now. Which
you kind of forced.
I don't think that was going to be a realization in terms of, especially considering he only played 8 games with the Spurs last year. They thought he was a great player, a great two-way player.
Yeah, and now everybody
no one really thought he was going to be.
Now it's in front of everybody's eyes to see, right?
Of course, he's been remarkable, and as long as he stays healthy, that'll be another factor. Like hopefully that knee tendonitis or whatever he's got won't be a major contributing factor. These 4 days off will hopefully give him some good time to rest that and get him back up to snuff. But I don't know, man. I'm feeling overjoyed at some point, and I'm feeling confident. I haven't felt this confident in the Raptors in a long time. Even though I know they're facing a powerhouse team.
A powerhouse for real, yeah.
It's not like they're favored or anything in the finals, but it's just like, man, and Kawhi, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things, like it's the big dog in the yard. Like, oh, we got Kawhi. Like Kawhi will do it for us. Kawhi will hit 35. Even though, again, there is a point where his 3-point shooting has, like I've seen some stats. Since Game 5 of the Philly series.
Well, he's having to force a lot of more tough shots because nobody's done it.
He's at about 20-something%, so hopefully that comes a little bit more too. But
like if guys are going to hit shots and give him spacing, then there won't be a problem. If everybody's going to
and he was never really known as a 3-point guy to begin with.
No, but he's proved like he's been like a high 30 percentage guy. He's been a lot better than people have thought. We're to Toronto, Jurassic Park. You guys are obviously going to bring it. I'm gonna bring it whenever I'm there. That's for damn sure. But any last closing words? Any last closing words? There's gonna be some.
No, you know what? And as much as we say, like, the Raptors will take this, even if the worst comes to fruition and something like that doesn't happen, where for some reason they either the pressure gets to them or whatever, and they lose the series. Hopefully, again, a hard-fought series, either way, nothing in 4 or anything like that. To me, it's a win. It's a win of a season. Again, we take the highs and we're going to take the lows. The possibility of Kawhi leaving will obviously be a huge detriment. Yeah. And again, one of those situations is a lot of the American guys are watching this, and I'm talking about the athletes in the NBA. There's nothing really stopping the Raptors, for example, that if they can get Kawhi in here to recruit another guy, then they could really be a powerhouse situation realistically because they're going to have the cap space. They have a couple of high-priced guys. I don't know if Mark has to opt in or something, but they're going to have some cap money,
and they'll probably be willing to go into the luxury tax they're already in the finals, right?
So if someone says like, I want to join up with Kawhi here. Kyle's only got a year left. Serge has only got a year left.
Gasol 1 year left.
But again, all in all, the city should be proud of these guys because, like again, I don't think they were favored to come out of the East. They're probably in that bubble of 4 teams, and they accomplished more than probably a lot of us thought they would. And again, win or fail, they had a great hell of a season, and they should be commended for it.
Guys, we're sitting here Tuesday, May 28th. It's 9:20. We wrapped up, and like I said, who would have thought at the beginning of the year? Very few people would have thought that the Raptors would be here in the finals against Golden State with a legitimate chance of winning that, right? So really, that's all you can ask for. Like we've been saying,
Everything fell into place.
we're here.
And again, the
And
shot, the game 7, it looks
there's
everything
a lot.
just looks
Everything's
like it's
lining
coming
up
together for the Raptors.
You can't ignore the signs
Yeah.
at this point. Like I said,
The
you got the
basketball
murals,
gods.
you got the
The
murals,
basketball
you got
gods.
everything. So yeah. Igor, it's been great. We're gonna get back, obviously. Hopefully, maybe we can in between games. We'll kind of recap every game. We'll try and do
I'll
that.
do my
At worst
best.
case, we'll do it in between game 2 and 3. Guys, enjoy the games. Check the feed. Gonna be posting a lot of stuff as well. And that's pretty much it. So for Igor Henriquez, Joe Rafari, all the best to the Raptors, and we'll see you guys
Let's
very
go.
shortly
Let's
on
go.
our next episode of On the Block. Take care.